Okay, so it seems like it's been a pretty big situation kind of going on over on Twitter lately that I couldn't really ignore, and I'm even going to cover over on this channel. Obviously, you guys know that I usually do VTuber news and stuff, but this is such a big situation that I thought, you know what, I'll make a video on it because it is doing pretty good for me over on Twitter as well, with a lot of my commentary on it. Now, essentially, this is all sparked from, this Hasan stuff, which has been going on with his dog. Now, I'm going to take you through everything, but it seems like recently his own friends have actually exposed him to exactly, how he's been lying to his audience and everything like that, which I think is pretty crazy. Now, obviously, this all started off with this clip. If you guys have not seen it, it's obviously Hasan talking and then Kaya then yelping, Kaya being the dog, if you guys don't know. But yeah, essentially, this is what happens. I'll show you.
Much more consequential violence, okay? It's the same reason as to why America, Kaya, please just fucking go, just stop.
So yeah, obviously that is the clip there that has been kind of trending around, and everybody has been saying that, Hasan has been shocking his dog with a shock collar, right? And it seems to be getting worse and worse for him as he slowly exposes the fact that he actually does have a shock collar. Now, obviously, as you can see here, he reaches for something, and then obviously the dog then yelps, and people have been saying that was him reaching for the remote, clicking it, and then, putting Kaya back into place. And yeah, people have been very critical of that, and I've been very critical of that online because it is pretty disgusting to obviously be using a shock collar just to have your dog as a prop in the background of a stream. Is like, come on, like, what are we really doing here? And obviously Hasan has been very, very much against that, obviously saying for the fact here, saying that this is a collar for vibration. That is what he's claiming, saying that this is only a collar for vibration and that it is not a shock collar, right? And people have been looking into this and looking into the different models. There's been many different kind of posts, obviously people bringing it up, like different ones they found online, which prove that it is a shock collar, right? And you can see throughout the entire video, he kind of like avoids showing it really close up to the camera, which many people were very skeptical about because, again, you can't really see the back of it, and the bits that you do see the back of it, it looks like it's been covered up with a little bit of electrical tape around the back, right? And this is where it starts getting even crazier, because then obviously we move on to even more clips of this kind of happening. As you can see here, he reaches over, she gets up, and then, she moves into a different place, right? Again, more people speculating that he's reaching for the remote, clicking the button, and then she moves. And again, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then we got, for example, the whole valkyrae saga, which has also been going on alongside of this. Valkyrae making comments on it, pretty much saying, like, I wish we had this much outrage towards stuff in Palestine over this. It's like, this isn't about Palestine. This isn't about anything that's going on over there. This is about someone obviously potentially shocking their dog and, being pretty abusive towards their dog, right? And it's just pretty terrible. And obviously Valkyrae says that, yeah, like, this is the kind of you would think this is the kind of outrage you have towards the genocide, which is pretty crazy. And then we move on as well to then Valkyrae saying that she DM'd NMP LOL and Asmongold for advice, which, again, if you mention the word Asmongold, it's like you just said the worst word in the entire world, because obviously her community then obviously dogged on her for that, and then she then apologized for DMing Asmongold, which is pretty crazy that she had to make it like an apology section of her stream, or an apology video to do with Asmongold for DMing him. Like, apparently you're not allowed to speak to anybody anymore, which I think is pretty crazy, because, again, obviously I think it was a pretty sensible move to obviously talk to people like Asmongold and stuff who face a lot of hate and stuff from LSF. And that is exactly the reason why she did it. I think it was also a bad idea for her to mention that she'd actually talked to him, because, again, we all know that there's a lot of people, especially in her space, in her kind of community and stuff, that dislike Asmongold. And as I said, see it as this like word that cannot be spoken, and you cannot say the Asmongold word, else you're going to get cancelled or whatever, right? And obviously I think that, she should be free to talk to Asmongold or whatever. There shouldn't be any outrage in it overall, but as we know, some people were just stupid, and so again, you are going to get backlash from it, whether you agree with it or not, right? So she should have obviously just not said that she'd spoke to him. And even Asmongold said that himself over on his stream, saying, like, she should have asked me, should I say that I've spoken to you, which he was pretty surprised that she even admitted in the first place, which, yeah, I do think is pretty crazy. And then obviously, yeah, we had the apology saying my fault for not being aware enough and probably so hurtful. I think it's crazy that, she's apologizing for DMing someone. And then we move on to the current stuff which has been going on. Obviously, that's a little bit of a recap. Obviously, there's been many videos covering more into detail about, the tape on the back of the collar or whatever. There's been so many, obviously, XQC's been going into it and other people like that. But now we move on to some of the more recent clips, which have been resurfacing. Obviously, as well, also we had the Pokimane stuff where essentially they had to cancel, or they cancelled that episode due to stuff that was going on. And then Pokimane came out and said it was the staff that cancelled it and not her, which I think is pretty interesting. And then we go on to the more recent clips, for example, of this one, which obviously reveals the actual collar that potentially was being used, or the remote for the collar that was being used. And as you can see there, it looks very, very much like one of the ones you see on many of these shops and things that you can buy them from, including this one. There's so many different posts like this. You can see it's got this big antenna thing, and then all of the other stuff around it, which obviously is a shot collar remote. I mean, it's very, very obvious. You can't really make that up to be anything. And also, in this clip itself, you can see he literally moves it out of frame because obviously the camera is quite high up. Usually it's not in frame. And also it's in the same location in the other clips that he reaches for. You know, he reaches for something off camera like that. And obviously that is that. It is that remote, right? And he claims that it is for a gate remote. And for that one specific clip where Kaya got up, not the yelping one, but the other one, this one, he claims that it's for a gate and that she got up because, you know, obviously dogs get excited by gates and doors opening and stuff like that. But a lot of people aren't really buying that, and I'm not really buying that either, especially whenever you see a lot of the footage of the kind of remote being on his desk in the exact same place that this gate button was, right? And then it just keeps getting worse and worse because, you know, he claims that obviously it's just a vibration collar and things like that, which, you know, obviously could still be the case whenever it comes to this remote, right? Well, then we go on to this final clip, which has come out literally recently, where essentially qtcinderella, one of Hasan's friends, obviously is on one of his podcasts, right? Literally kind of exposes him straight up on someone else's stream, essentially she was trying to defend him here, but ended up kind of exposing him because obviously Hasan says it's vibration only, it only does vibrating. But then QT actually goes on to say, no, there's no shock. The electric prongs are taken out. It's only vibrate. There's a setting for vibrate and there's a setting for shock. So she's pretty much just admitted there that this was a shock collar. Like regardless of whether the prongs are taken out or not, you know, this is still a shock collar and has the capabilities of doing that. And whereas Hasan was saying that it was just a vibrate one and that there is many models out there which obviously only vibrate and don't shock, which again, just completely calls him out on his lie from his own friend there. And I bet he's so mad right now. I bet he is extremely angry at QT right now for exposing that because, again, obviously it keeps changing and changing and changing the story of what happened. And now we're starting to see the truth of it, which I think is absolutely hilarious because it's been this like weird, like, I don't know, like manhunt for like exactly what has been going on. And people have finally gotten to the bottom of it to the point where QT slips up and accidentally reveals the truth behind it. Because obviously it started off by saying, no, it's not a shock collar. You know, she was just yelping at something. She might have caught a claw, which was something that obviously he was saying was the reason as to why she yelped, saying like, oh, she just caught a claw on the bed or whatever. And that's why she yelped. That was the first reason, right? And then obviously he goes on to show off the, you know, the collar saying that it's vibrate only. That's why. You know, that's why she yelped or whatever. And then we go on to obviously, oh, you know, the button at my desk is only for a gate, when we can clearly see it's for a shock collar or some kind of collar, right? And then finally, you know, we go on to the clip where, you know, QT confirms a friend of Hasan who goes to his house often, right, that it is a shock collar with the prongs allegedly taken out, right? So you can see how it changes and changes and changes and changes. And now we're on to this kind of, you know, update to the situation, right? Where they're saying that it's a shock collar, but the prongs have been taken out. Well, could they still be lying about that? That is the case. And that's why so many people are still trying to find out more. It isn't just case closed now that it's like, oh, okay, well, she's just exposed the fact that it is a shock collar, but, you know, we can just kind of end it there and, you know, maybe, you know, get some help for the dog or whatever, right? No, that is not the case because obviously, you know, they say it's only setting for vibrate on it and that they've taken the prongs off. Now I'm guessing that a lot of internet detectives and stuff like that are going to try and find clips of the prongs still in there. But, you know, as we saw with the one where Hasan showed off the collar on stream, you could see that he very clearly had taped up, you know, the back of it and was trying to avoid it. He was actually like covering it with his hand, which is just like, okay, you couldn't make it any more obvious that, you know, you were obviously trying to hide the fact that, hey, this does have prongs on it. Now, I can understand why he did just say it was a vibrate thing, due to the fact of, I think if he just said it was a shock collar, like if he said essentially what QT said, it's a shock collar, but it's only got vibrate, people are going to freak out because obviously he's saying it wasn't one, and now but again, obviously he's caught himself in his own lie there. He's literally lied to them, and now he has to deal with the consequence of lying to his own audience, which I think is pretty hilarious. And it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to it later on, and whether he's even going to respond to it. Because the other day, he talked about it briefly on stream, where he was just like, okay, the jokes aren't funny anymore, whatever. And then he just went on to streaming about, like, you know, Israel and all of the usual political stuff that he streams, right? And didn't really mention it. Whereas, you know, previous streams, he kind of gone into it and debunked a lot of things. But at the same time, you know, now there's a lot more stuff coming out and a lot more kind of anger towards him. And it's totally justified, you know. Obviously, a lot of people are very concerned for the dog because, again, it just seems like he's shocking the dog just to keep her in the position to be behind stream. You know, it's not even like there's any kind of like training going on here apart from using her as a prop, which is just the most improper way to use it. And even then, I don't think you should be using a shock collar on a dog for anything, you know. I think obviously you should be able to train it without one. If you can't, then you're probably a bad owner. Like, let's be real. So again, I think this is a pretty crazy situation overall. Obviously, I kind of wanted to give you guys an update on it because I just thought it was very interesting to me. And obviously on Twitter, I've been uploading quite a lot about it. If you guys have seen my profile, go follow me over on there. Again, we've been talking about it and some of the defenders of him as well. Again, this post is doing absolutely crazy at the moment because, again, they keep changing what they're saying about it, which obviously keeps making people less and less kind of believable, getting people less believed in what kind of Hasan was saying and things, and it's kind of falling apart now, which I think is pretty hilarious to see, and I just kind of wanted to share it, especially considering this is extremely big news at the moment. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to Game Subs, use my code Kaza, get 10% off again. We've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Obviously, this is a little bit of a different video to what I usually do. Obviously, I usually do like VTuber stuff. I've covered like one IRL thing with the Pirate Software stuff like months ago, but I thought this was pretty crazy. I mean, we'll see how this does. If it does good, then maybe I'll make more. But for now, obviously, I'm sticking with the VTuber stuff. Maybe we can throw in a couple of these whenever stuff like this does kind of, evolve and I get actually interested in it. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.